building a beastly blue line brigade in the fantasy game can be a huge task. So we're breaking down the top 10 performers on the blue line so far on the latest edition of the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is good, my fantasy fanatics? We hope it's been another week of fantasy hockey dominance here on the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast, where we continue to show love to the everydayers, making us their first listen every single day and putting us at the number one spot in the podcast network game here on the Locked On Network. Steele, this is a big episode of Blue Line Chatter, the top 10 producers in the fantasy game on the blue line so far. A juicy parlay coming up. We're hitting every single Saturday matchup with a selection. You've got some injury news, though, some big names, some fantasy producers. Let's start there quickly, and then we'll dive into these top 10 blue liners.
Yeah, just the luck you're looking for right now. And Jack Hughes will be out for the weekend in an incident that happened at a team dinner. A non-hockey injury, ended up cutting his hand somehow again at this team dinner. So he will be out against the Washington Capitals Saturday night. We don't know how long it could be, so we'll keep you updated as best as possible, but he will miss the game against the Washington Capitals. In other news, Alex Newhook will be out for the next 4 months as well after suffering an ankle injury. I believe he did have successful surgery on that, but he will be out for 4 months as well. And we just talked about him as a waiver wire pickup potentially, as the Montreal Canadiens have been very successful this season. But two key players, or especially Jack Hughes, for a lot of guys who drafted him going into the season.
10 goals, 10 assists for Jack Hughes. Apparently, he slipped and fell at this team dinner, Steele. And we don't need to get into it, but this guy just has some terrible luck with staying healthy. That is a fact. So we'll talk about some waiver options on Sunday's episode. Should this be a prolonged thing? Perhaps it's a week-to-week situation. We don't really know. However, what we do know, Steele, is we've talked about goaltenders. We've talked about it at length, that can be a difficult position to fill in the fantasy game, but blue line, D-men who produce, and we're talking about points league today, standard format, I believe. However, being able to get one or two of these guys in the top 10 that we're going to talk about, absolutely critical to your success. So we want to shine a light on the top 10 producers in the fantasy game on the blue line this year. Kick it off, my friend. Adam Fox at 10. We got Jacob Trouba in the 9 hole. Whoever you want to talk about, we got blue liners to get to before our big time bets.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to say about Adam Fox. He's one of the best defensemen in the game. And look at the Vincent Trocheck effect since his return from injury as well. The last 2 games, the New York Rangers have put up 13 goals against the Nashville Predators and the Tampa Bay Lightning in back-to-back games. So the Vincent Trocheck effect is live. He's got 4 points in those 4 points in the last 2 games. He's getting his blocks. He's getting his shots up right now. Some power play points as well. So Adam Fox, really not much to talk about him. So he's in the top 10. Jacob Trouba is a big surprise here. He's off to probably his best start to a season in his entire NHL career. I know his career high was 50 points back in 2018, 2019. This is a banger league beauty who can put up 100 plus blocks, actually 200 plus blocks on a very high season. He can get upwards of 200 plus hits as well. He's had a career high of 204 shots. So he fills all those peripheral categories that you're looking for. But now he's actually producing offense. He's got 4 goals, 12 points in 17 games. He's a plus 15. The penalty minutes is actually down. Maybe that's why he's having so much success offensively right now, is because he's staying out of the box. Only 4 penalty minutes to show for it. But like I said, 29 shots, 39 blocks, and 46 hits so far through 17 games. He's been a tremendous part of this Anaheim Ducks rebuild. And I know you talked about Chris Kreider the other day and sort of the resurgence to his game as well. Both former New York Rangers. So they're absolutely loving life out west in Anaheim, especially playing with all these young kids.
Pat Verbeek has done a sensational job in the front office of balancing this club with good, raw, young players, middle of intermediate guys, the Mason McTavishes of the world. And then you got Alex Killorn, Mikael Granlund, and then they bring in Chris Kreider, Jacob Trouba on the back end. We already spoke about the Zellweger, Lacombs, and even Pavel Mintyukovs of the world, who are all having some growing pains of their own thing. This team is looking like they might not only be for real now, and I'm not going to get ahead of ourselves and say a deep run. They're going to be a playoff team, but that's coming, Steele, isn't it? They are looking dangerous. And now I think what you're kind of alluding to with this Jacob Trouba resurgence here, don't want to say resurgence because he's never been a real offensive threat. 50 points, though, in 2019. He has the benefit of playing with the best roster he has had, at least offensively, in a long time. That takes some pressure off him, and he's producing fantasy value. On to the next name on the list, Jake Sanderson. Here's my take on Jake Sanderson fantasy-wise, Steele. He's got 3 goals, 10 assists, 41 shots on net, eating a lot of minutes, 24 minutes of ice time per night. This isn't the best that we've seen from Jake Sanderson. There is a lot more in this kid's tank, in my opinion. You have also the Ottawa Senators really kind of coming on strong now, 6-1-3 in their last 10. I say there is even more value. This kid will be higher up this list come the end of the season. If you drafted this player, kudos to you. If you did not, keeper dynasty-wise, Steele, I would be trying to throw the kitchen sink at acquiring this guy. I'm saying it now. I would even be willing to sacrifice in my league. I got draft picks. I want Jake Sanderson to anchor my blue line core for years to come. That's how good I think he is. Here come the Ottawa Senators. Jake Sanderson's numbers are about to go through the roof.
Yeah, we talked a lot about this Ottawa Senators team, and especially Jake Sanderson in the summertime leading up to the drafts and being a potential top 10 fantasy hockey defenseman coming into the season, and he's proven that right now. And you said, we haven't even seen his best offensively. I think he can produce even more. And the way that they're playing, especially without their captain, Brady Tkachuk, it's huge for them right now. So this has been a good stretch regardless. Again, the standings in the Eastern Conference have been so tight to start off the season. The Ottawa Senators are hanging in there without their captain right now. Jake Sanderson, a huge part of that. There are a lot of Jakes on this list. Jacob Trouba, Jake Sanderson. Let's get to Jacob Chychrun of the Washington Capitals. Like you said, and like you predicted, they are struggling right now. And you said that going into the season. Again, the Eastern Conference is very tight. They're a few points out of a playoff spot. But nevertheless, Jacob Chychrun is running it on the back end right now. 4 goals, 12 points through 17 games, exactly like Jacob Trouba. A +7, 17 penalty minutes. He's getting all those peripherals that you love to see. 55 shots on net. You love to see this guy shoot the puck. And then, of course, the blocks and the hits, just over 15 plus in both of those peripherals. But it's the way he is able to stay healthy right now, but also his ability to just continue to make those clean plays from breaking out of their own zone. Very, very strong hockey IQ, makes the right play at the right time, and he has a wicked shot when he gets it in the offensive zone near the blue line. He gets pucks through, and he's doing all the good things right now for Washington, right there alongside Tom Wilson, who's probably been their best player. Logan Thompson's been really good this season as well. So those three have been the 3-headed dragon for the Washington Capitals.
Saving their bacon, too, because he struggles at times from Protus. McMichael has been a ghost. We know what's going on with Ovi. It's kind of interesting, though, how much noise was around this player those Arizona years, even into his time in Ottawa. Lots of off-ice distractions, and I don't really know why, because there is so much to like about this player. And at 26, 27 years old, he has really hit his prime kind of a little bit later in his career. He's already been in the league for 10 years, Steele. It feels like we've been talking about this guy for forever. What's intriguing about his fantasy value, quickly before we get to Josh Morrissey and break more players and bets, this Washington Capitals team has struggled to score goals, and they are really bad on the power play. Only the Blue Jackets, Hurricanes, and Flames, who have been really bad on the man advantage, are worse than the Capitals. 14.8% proficiency. If they can figure that out, these numbers go up for them as well. Jacob Chychrun being an important piece of this team, I could see the numbers going up for him as well, and this is a good start. So if he's doing this on a bad, quote-unquote, start for the Washington Capitals, I could see even more value for him. Maybe we save Josh Morrissey for after the break, Steele, because we got a lot more to talk about. Bets as well. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Monarch. Be honest, most of us can't name all of our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. 401ks, savings, investments, it's easy to lose track. And that means leaving money on the table. That's why we both started using Monarch. An all-in-one personal finance tool brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or phone. Organizing accounts, tracking spending, a better handle on investments. You get it all without touching a spreadsheet. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at Monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's Monarch.com. LOCKEDONNHL is the code for half off your first year.
And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Pod your first listen every single day. Continue to smash that subscribe button, the follow button, leave a 5-star review for your boys here, Flip Livingstone and Steele Rodin. Winnipeg Jets continuing to be successful this season. Maybe not the best team in the Western Conference because the Colorado Avalanche have just come out red hot to start off the year in the first month and a half. But Josh Morrissey is having a really good season as well. And when you look at what he's been able to do on the back end, it was a little bit of a slow start because I believe we actually talked about him on one of our, not fantasy fades, but just like slumping superstars earlier on in the season. You know, I believe he only had 2 assists through 9
Maybe
games.
He was on your all duds team, perhaps.
He might have been on the all duds team, but yeah, he was in a slump to start off the season. The last 5 games, he's got 6 points. He's actually got 6 points in his last 4 games. And I know the Winnipeg Jets have lost 4 of their last 5. They lost to Seattle, they lost to Anaheim, San Jose, LA. That California road trip was not great for them. They're getting back home soon. But Josh Morrissey, 114.30 fantasy points on the season. He's now got 17 points in 17 games. He's a +6. He's getting the blocks, all those peripherals that we love to see. Maybe the power play efficiency has not been at its best for him. He does have 5 power play points, but you'd like to see that a little bit better on one of those guys that we talked about. You want to draft in, the top 3rd or 4th round.
He's just also, I think, Steele, me personally, I haven't given this guy enough credit. He is just steady as she goes, solid. He's so important to the success of this Jets team. Really solid two-way defender, always in the triple digits in blocks, near 100 hits. 17 points in 17 games is just impressive. And we're going to talk about Werenski in a second. We're just talking about kind of the struggles of some teams. The Jets are still in the 3rd spot in that division. 5-5-0 in their last 10. They start hitting their stride. Exactly what I just said with others. You might even get more out of Josh Morrissey. He's just that good. Zach Werenski, 12 points in 17 games. I want to keep this one short and sweet, Steele, because I'll say this. Little bit of a disappointment when you had 82 points in 81 games last year, but perhaps we should have expected it. He's healthy. That's huge. He is still an elite defenseman for sure. Top 6, 7 in the league. I like this player so much. However, just compared to last year, and we invested in him pretty heavily, like this was definitely at least one of the top 3 or 4 latest off the board this draft season.
I think he was in the top 25 when we did our preseason ranks.
There you go. So 12 points is good. Don't get me wrong. But when you looked at 82 last year, you might be hoping for a little bit more out of this player coming up. That might happen, though.
100%.
The Columbus Blue Jackets score goals. We know this. And they are a team that I think you and I have been on for a long time. But I think a lot of other fans, fantasy GMs are starting to pay attention. And the Columbus Blue Jackets also haven't hit their stride. So if they really start scoring goals, I could see Werenski continue. This is kind of a common theme here with a few of these blue liners.
Yeah.
However, Werenski, let's see what he can do. 12 points in 17 games. I think there's more to come.
I think that's the big thing too, is that, all these defensemen, they're just not hitting the same that we've seen in the past seasons compared to this one. And when you look at the actual rankings of defensemen right now, there's only one defenseman inside the top 60 in fantasy rankings. And I know that will slightly change depending on your format, but based off the one we're going off of, standard fantasy points, Cale Makar is the number 1 guy, and we'll get to him obviously later in the episode. But all of these other defensemen that we've talked about or will talk about soon, they're outside the top 60. So guys like Rasmus Dahlin, Evan Bouchard, Zach Werenski, who we talked about, Josh Morrissey, just not living up to that expectation we had at the beginning of the season or in the fantasy projections we had. However, Evan Bouchard is still in the top 5 amongst fantasy hockey defensemen. And this is a huge surprise to me. Again, I talk about sometimes how, play doesn't transfer over into the fantasy league. I think it's the exact opposite for Evan Bouchard. I mean, he consistently makes these bonehead plays defensively, offensively. His decision-making is never there. Yet he still is 4th amongst defensemen, has 121.90 fantasy points. He still has 15 points in 19 games. I know he had 3 assists in that game, in that loss against the Columbus Blue Jackets the other night. He still has 53 shots. He still has 26 blocks. He's a -7 on the season, which is not great, but nevertheless, he's still producing all those peripherals. And honestly, I kind of hate to see it. I mean, this guy does not deserve to be in the top 5, yet somehow he is.
When you look at him getting ripped in practice by Connor McDavid, I'm not saying just because we see one clip of the best player on the planet getting frustrating with him is like the be all and end all. It's getting frustrating for this Edmonton Oilers team. It's just kind of standard. I think it might be mostly media noise because they still have 20 points. They're 3 points shy of the Anaheim Ducks. And I know the expectations are through the roof. We get that. However, I think it's a lot of noise around the frustration. They're going to be okay. They're going to be there at the end. I don't know about Evan Bouchard in terms of his overall 200-foot game. 27 giveaways to 13 takeaways. He's a -7 as well. Just throwing out some other caveats. 10 penalty minutes, 15 points in 19 games, 53 shots on net. That's pretty elite fantasy value. I don't know if I would call him an elite demon right now, but in the fantasy game, he is. Who we got up next on this list, Steele? Number 3. I'll turn this one over to you. How you feeling about Miro Heiskanen's game this year?
Well, we just talked about him the other day when we talked about.
I just wanted you to say it again. I want to hear it from you again.
I understand why, and I completely get where you're coming from.
Yep.
I was hard on this guy for years, and you know what? He definitely deserves a lot of credit for how he's performing right now. And the way he's been able to play, especially taking control over that power play time, especially when we thought Thomas Harley would come into the season and potentially take it away from him. Nevertheless, 123.90 fantasy points on the year. He's getting it done in all the peripherals that you want to see right now. His offensive touch has definitely come back to life or come back to form over the last 2 to 3 years from what I've seen. And it's really just good to see. I mean, this is a very dangerous Dallas Stars team. When you have Jason Robertson, who's really come into form this season, especially after all these weird trade rumors going on last year. You get Mikko Rantanen in the mix. Wyatt Johnston is an unbelievable goal scorer for them.
Yes.
And that's, again, without Jamie Benn to start off the season for them. Rupe Hintz back in the lineup for Matt Duchene as well. Rupe Hintz back into the lineup. This is a dangerous team, and especially I don't believe Jake Ottinger has been at the best or at the top of his game so far this year. But when he is going and he's at his best, they could be the number 1 team in the Western Conference. But like I said, it is the Colorado Avalanche.
I don't think that's a stretch at all. Those two teams, that would be a real treat come playoffs. Probably already on another crash course. 896 save percentage for Jake Ottinger. That ain't going to be good enough in terms of if this team wants to run through the big boys in the West. Love the value from Miro Heiskanen. Let's touch quickly on the top 2 D-men in the game after the break. And we also have bets coming up. We'll do a rapid fire pick for every single game. I think we got 13 on the slate for Saturday, Steele. Let's get after it right after this.
Big time bets. But first, this episode is brought to you by Drip Drop. When I'm hydrated, everything just works better. My focus, energy, mood, even my skin glows. That's why I've been using Drip Drop. It's doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power, no matter what my day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands, using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. I'll mix a packet in the morning before the gym or during that midday slump, and it actually tastes so good. My go-to flavors are the black cherry and strawberry from the Sunburst variety pack, and it became my secret weapon for staying sharp and energized through long days. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL. That's dripdrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard and keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop. This episode is also brought to you by Game Time. Hockey season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before the checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets, fast, easy, and stress-free. Take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, and go. Once again, thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Continue to smash that subscribe button. Flip and I appreciate all that love and support. Before we get to bets, top two defensemen in the game right now. One of them, a rookie of the New York Islanders. Matthew Schaefer is absolutely killing it this season. 124.30 fantasy points. He is tied amongst defensemen for goals this season with Cale Makar with 6 on the season. He's tied amongst rookie players in goals with 6 on the season, but he leads all rookies with 14 points in 17 games. He's just exactly what they expected when they drafted him with the first overall pick. And again, going back, that's probably the reason why they decided to trade Noah Dobson away, is because they were drafting this kid who is able to do these things offensively. Again, there's going to be some growing pains, maybe some, obviously a lot of time to put some muscle on the body and kind of bolster up a little bit. However, he's got the speed, he's got the agility, he's got the creativity as well in the offensive zone. He is not afraid to take control and really just use all the ice in the offensive zone to his advantage and create those plays for his teammates. I think that also goes on par about why Bo Horvat's been so good this year, is it's kind of let him a little bit loose as well. He doesn't have to be so defensive minded all the time. He has a strong young defenseman that he can really rely on right now. And Matthew Schaefer is absolutely killing it for rookies.
Hey, let's run back the tape on that start stash drop episode. I'll just throw that out there too as well. My
kudos to you
me.
for sure.
This player is he turned 18 in September, Steele. That's insane. We really need to start paying attention to how special this kid is. I heard on TSN the other day, and I'm not trying to say just because they're on TV, they know what they're talking about, but we're talking about guys who have played in the NHL, GMs who have literally run franchises, saying Doug Armstrong of Team Canada has to seriously consider opening up that last spot for Matthew Schaefer. That might be bold. However, it's not too far out of the realm of possibility if he continues to play that way. That's all I wanted to say. Fantasy stud. Cale Makar, I don't even think we need to say anything here, Steele. This guy's locked in at this spot in any format. He will continue to be. He is the best defenseman, fantasy or otherwise, in the game. We do a lot of breakdowns, right? Positional, age, minutes, any angle you take talking about blue liners, and this isn't happening in any real sport in fantasy. This guy is the shoe-in number one, clear cut, and he will continue to be, especially if this Colorado Avalanche team continues to fire on all cylinders, because it's dangerous right now.
Yeah, it's not even close when you compare the rest of the top 10 to Cale Makar. He's 30 plus fantasy points ahead of Matthew Schaefer, continuing to kill it offensively. 24 points in 18 games, a plus 16. He has never been a negative in any season throughout his entire career, through 7 years now. You know he's going to get the shots up, back-to-back seasons of 12.5 plus shooting percentage. He's at 12.8 this season. You know he's going to get his blocks. The physicality is just a cherry on top of anything that you can get from Cale Makar We'll leave it at that. He is the number one defenseman in the fantasy hockey game and in the National Hockey League. Let's get to FanDuel. Let's get to big time bets. Let's make this money over the weekend flip. Let's get to it here right now.
Yes.
Starting with the Battle of Florida, Tampa Bay going into Florida. And we'll try to run through this really quickly as we can. There might be a little bit more in depth on certain games, but how are you feeling about this first one, Battle of Florida?
Immediately, I like the Cats at home. They're starting to look better. And the Tampa Bay Lightning, I know it's a pump show, 7-3 against the New York Rangers, and that's just one game. Florida has come off big dubs against Washington and Vegas, and they beat LA the night before that. I like Florida here at home. The Tampa Bay Lightning are starting to rack up injuries quickly to important players. They are banged up big time. Hedman, Nick Paul, Hagel, Sorelli, all dealing with ailments. I say Cats at home in this one, Steele.
I like the Cats at home in this one as well. What about Ducks and Wild? I personally like the Wild. They've kind of taken it to the Anaheim Ducks. I know it's a different team here. The Wild have won the last 5 games against Anaheim. I do like the Wild at home in this instance. They have been playing a lot better defensively. I just feel comfortable with them at home as well.
9-1-0, the Wild in their last 10 against the Ducks. Different team. Don't care. Wild at home. Let's hammer it.
Hammer it. Hurricanes against the Oilers. I think you've got to obviously take the Hurricanes at home here. Edmonton just looks bad, and their goaltending sucks. There's no way around to beat this Bush. So if you're comfortable enough, I like the Hurricanes at home here too.
Let's do it. In my opinion, that's a coin flip game, but for the sake of this parlay, let's move forward. Canes at home. That's it.
Capitals at home in this instance too. I know they've struggled, but without Jack Hughes, I think this makes it a lot more difficult for New Jersey. For New Jersey coming into here, and like you said, I think after the pumping they just took from the Florida Panthers in Florida, they're looking to bounce back in a big way, and guys like Ovi need to step up.
Yeah, I'm seeing plus money for the Devils. I might be interested in that. I do like the over 5.5 here. Again, coin flip game. Let's go with the Caps. I might lean towards the Devils on a come up. This is a tough one. That aside from doing this parlay, I might stay away from this one.
All right, maybe stay away from this one, but for the parlay, we're going with the Caps here. Sabres, Red Wings.
Got to be the Wings.
Gotta be the Wings in this instance. I could see potentially Tage Thompson having a really good game, but I feel like I've said that so many times this year and it's never really panned out. So I will take the Red Wings at home as well. We're taking all home teams to start off this parlay in the first 5 games. That should go well. New York Rangers, Blue Jackets. I think this might be the first away team that we take. With Vincent Trocheck back in the lineup, they look like a different team right now.
They do, and they've kind of got that monkey off their back at home. They're starting to play better there, which was an enigma. You got Bald Breadman going off. I think it was 9 points since he shaved his bucket. It's got to be Rangers here. The Blue Jackets, we talked up so much, so to go against them now, it is what it is. I like the Rangers. They're cooking.
I like the Bruins against the Canadiens, honestly. They play really well. They played really well in Montreal, and they were on a 7-game win streak before that loss to the Ottawa Senators the other night. Yep. I know the Montreal Canadiens haven't been at their best the last couple of games. They've lost two in a row. They're 5-3-2 in their last 10. I like the plus money for the Boston Bruins.
8-1-1, the Bruins in their last 10. I am concerned about that bounce back angle because Montreal got embarrassed by Dallas the other night. However, for the juice and that head-to-head, it's Bruins.
Oh, this one's going to hurt. Chicago Blackhawks, Toronto Maple Leafs. They don't have Austin Matthews. Potentially, maybe we see Joseph Wall for his first game. He is on the active roster for the Maple Leafs. But what about the Blackhawks at home? I mean, Connor Bedard and that top line of Burakovsky and Bertuzzi has just been really special.
Burakovsky, I think, is banged up day to day right now, but that's not going to deter me completely. Steele again. This would be one that I would omit from anything other than a $10 13-legger. Let's take the home team who's been playing better. That one's going to burn us. I can feel it, but whatever. Let's go with the juice too. You're getting plus money for the home dog. Let's take it.
Kings plus 104, Sens minus 125. How you feeling?
This is a tough road trip for the Kings. I've liked what I've seen from the Ottawa Senators lately. I'm going to go with the Ottawa Senators. The Leafs just took the Kings to OT. This is going to be a tough game to get up for. Ottawa at home, I think, is the play here. I love the Sens in this spot.
I like the Ottawa Senators in this spot as well. Dallas Stars at home. I think we obviously got to go with them. Easy money here.
I think
Golden Knights.
I see the same with the Golden Knights here, Steele. I think
Yeah.
this is the perfect spot for them to bounce back from a couple of ugly losses. The Blues roll into town. That's prime time.
Jets and Flames. I know the Jets have been very bad on the road so far over the last 5 games.
Flames looking decent last couple.
Flames looking okay. You could get plus money here. I'm tempted to take the Jets, though. I know it's minus 130.
Jets.
Got to go Jets here. What about the Sharks and Kraken? I mean, I kind of like the Sharks. My buddy Austin, he's been all over the Sharks this year, and every single time he's betting on the Sharks, it's hidden. So
every time I bet against the Seattle Kraken, and I've been pretty adamant about saying I don't buy into this team. The other night, quickly talking about bets, all I needed was the Winnipeg Jets on the money line, and they were winning 3-2. Hey, guess what, though? Little cash out saved your boys bacon. I'll send you the screenshot. However, I still think what you just said holds true. Let's take the plus money, and let's take the Sharks.
13-leg parlay plus 243,684. You throw $1 on here, it's almost $2,500. What about $10 is 24 plus K on this 13-leg parlay.
Easy.
We're absolutely hammering this just for the fun of it. Honestly, I don't mind throwing. I might even just throw $1 on it, but $10 potentially 24 plus K. That is insane.
I'm throwing 100 on it, and I'm retiring early. That's it. Steele, done.
Well, let's hopefully it hits for us and for anyone who ends up tailing this 13-leg NHL parlay for the Saturday big time bets. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Pod your first listen every single day. Continue to smash that subscribe button, the follow button, leave a 5-star review, and we shall see you back here again on Sunday for a waiver wire episode.